A report from Group 17 by Robert C. O'Brien. Epilogue. Part 1. Colonel Attenborough, with some pride, showed Fergus through the gleaming new laboratory, built to Fergus's own specifications and filled with exactly the equipment he had ordered. It had taken only a few meetings attended by the Colonel, Mr. Bales, and a number of generals, and 2 distinguished elder biologists to secure allocation of funds to build it. It had been necessary for Alice and Adam to attend just one of the meetings. The project had been given the highest priority. It bore the cryptic title, Analysis and Reduction of Water X as to Mutagenic Effects on Human Tissue. Fergus was particularly pleased. He had already received a reply to one of 2 letters he had written to the other members of the B virus team. Jerome would be joining the project in a week. He expected John would also accept. The PTS was over. He had found a new problem. Part 2. A dispatch carried by the United Press International ran as follows. Lima, June 27th. A team of 4 German geologists prospecting for oil in the Andes Mountains were expelled from Peru today after setting off an explosive charge that destroyed a valuable archaeological site. The explosive, designed for seismic testing of the mountainous substrata, caused a landslide which completely demolished and buried a recently discovered stone ruin believed to have been built by the Incas near the present village of Ayuculpa. The landslide also diverted a picturesque waterfall that formerly flowed through the ruin. The Peruvian government, in addition to expelling the geologists, filed a formal complaint with the West German government, which had sponsored the expedition. Part 3. Professor Dr. Hans von Bruckner, a well-to-do biologist, lived in Eidelberg, a town in the Lüneburger Heide not far from Hamburg. He lived in a comfortable house, large but not ostentatious, with a touch of the Gothic in its architecture. His own well-equipped laboratory stood a suitable distance away in a separate building on the same spacious grounds. He lectured once a week to a respectable group of graduate students at the University of Hamburg, and after the lecture, in an hour of relaxation, shared a glass of wine in the stube with some of the graduate students. They discussed genetics. Once a month, Professor von Bruckner paid a visit to his old and close friend, Friedrich Kassel, Minister of Defense of the German Republic. There, in the minister's own living room, they talked about the state of science in Germany, and particularly about progress in some biochemical research related to the national defense. It was, of course, progressing well. And that is the end of a report from Group 17, a book that, if it had some good edits, would probably have been a better kids' book than a book for adults. That's how House with a Clock at Its Walls by John Bellairs became such a hit, is that it was written for adults, and then an editor said, this is a kid's book. And I think that Robert C. O'Brien's best books are kids' books. Supposedly Z for Zachariah, which I haven't read, was written for adults. I know the movie was kind of adult, but I read that book when I was 12 or 13 and didn't think that it was particularly extreme, just thought it was good. So I will read you that if you request it. Z for Zachariah, the final book by Robert C. O'Brien. He only wrote 4 books, so I will see you in the next read aloud.